Hello, everyone. I'm Steve,
And I'm Scott.
and together we're Backyard Musings. We're broadcasting. Well, I'm in the backyard. Scott is traveling, um,
Yes.
and we're the science. We're the Science and Technology channel. All things science and technology, bringing you innovation to hopefully improve your life. Let you know what's going on. For years, studies have suggested that a mother's health during pregnancy could influence her child's likelihood of developing autism. However, a groundbreaking new study leveraging Denmark's extensive medical records reveals a different story. Researchers found that nearly all previously suspected maternal conditions were not actually causing autism, but were instead linked through genetics or environmental factors. The only consistent associations with autism came from fetal complications, which scientists now believe are early signs of autism rather than its cause. Would you like to know more?
Autism is a developmental disorder that typically emerges in childhood, affecting social interactions and behaviors. Symptoms can vary widely and may include reduced eye contact, difficulty engaging in play, repetitive movements or speech, and unusual responses to sensory experiences like temperature. While these traits can persist into adulthood, they differ from person to person. According to federal estimates, autism affects about 1 in 54 children in the United States.
So if you're listening to this, you probably know someone who has autism.
I do.
It's staggering.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Many studies have suggested a link between a mother's health during pregnancy and her child's risk of autism. However, a new study finds that nearly all of these connections can be explained by other factors such as genetics, environmental exposures like pollution, and access to healthcare. Conducted by researchers at NYU Langone Health, the study found that the only pregnancy related conditions truly associated with autism were complications affecting the fetus. This suggests that these complications may not be causes of autism, but rather early signs of it.
So this is a quote. Our study shows that there is no convincing evidence that any of these other diagnoses in the mother can cause autism. And that's from senior author Magdalena Janeka, PhD and associate professor in the Department of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry in the Department of Population Health at NYU Grossman School of Medicine.
So she's pedigreed. She knows what she's talking about.
Yeah, I would think so.
Publishing in the journal Nature Medicine Online January 31st, the new study included an analysis of the medical histories of more than 1.1 million pregnancies among 600,000 mothers from a national registry in Denmark. That's a lot of records to go through.
Yeah.
Unlike medical records in the United States, which are often scattered among many different medical providers an individual sees during their lifetime, in Denmark, all of an individual's health records are consolidated under a single government issued number, which enable researchers to check each woman for more than 1,700 distinct diagnoses as defined by international standards known as ICD-10 codes. From these, researchers focus their analysis on those diagnosed in at least 0.1% of pregnancies. That's 236 diagnoses.
Okay, Denmark has strict safeguards in place to prevent misuse of the registry data, says Janeka, since it contains personal information. However, cross-check every diagnosis a woman had with her children's risk of autism. So,
For the
sounds like a pretty
study,
advanced study.
yeah. For the study, the researchers corrected for factors that could confound or offer an alternative explanation for the link between the diagnosis a woman received and a child's autism diagnosis. These factors included sociodemographic status and the mother's age during pregnancy. Since children of older mothers are more likely to be diagnosed with autism, and their mothers are also more likely to receive certain diagnoses, such as hypertension, than the younger counterparts.
After accounting for these confounding factors, as well as other concurrent diagnoses, 30 were still statistically associated with autism in the child. To determine if these happen to occur alongside rather than cause autism, the researchers then included the siblings of autistic children in the analysis. If a mother was diagnosed with the same condition during pregnancies of children with and without autism, then it would suggest that factors other than her diagnosis were influencing the link with autism. This step disentangled the conditions that could be attributable to familiar factors such as genetics and environmental exposure to pollution from those that may be causing autism.
Yeah, that's interesting. They can just put like a filter it out to do this. According to the researchers, genetics is a strong familial confounder, plausible explanation for autism. Some of the same genes linked to depression are also associated with autism. I didn't know that. That's interesting. If a mother experiences depression during pregnancy and her child is later diagnosed with autism, it is more likely due to shared genetic factors rather than depression itself affecting the fetus during development.
Researchers also analyzed fathers' medical records, medical histories, as any association between a paternal diagnosis and autism would most likely be caused by familial factors, since the father's direct effects on a fetus post-conception are likely very limited. In fact, the researchers observed that a lot of the paternal diagnoses are just as related to child autism as the maternal diagnosis.
After accounting for the familial factors, the only maternal diagnosis that was still strongly statistically associated with autism was pregnancy complications related to the fetus. We hope this segment has shed some light on autism. And if you have any comments, please give us some comments. I would think every one of our listeners knows somebody who has autism.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you use that word filtered, because normally in what's prevalent, at least in the autistic children and adults that I've run into, is that they are unfiltered. They say it how they see it. There's no filter.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
interesting. But anyway,
okay,
good
folks.
segment.
Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you in the morning.
Take care, everyone. Thanks.